We give praise, glory, and honor to the Most High Yah by way of Yahushua HaMashiach, our Master, King, and Savior. We'll look in John chapter 5 and verse 39. Woo! No time for spinneroonies. Spinneroonies. All right, y'all. Hey, all three of y'all over there in that corner, sit down somewhere.
You sit down, nigga.
I already am. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. You know, like, based on what we was looking at last night, we can understand and look at, you know, a lot of people don't have the love of the Most High in them. But let's deal with what I was talking about with Heman. And let's look in 2 Chronicles at about 16, chapter 16. Pardon me, 1 Chronicles chapter 16.
Get it right now.
We'll get something right, all right. Matter of fact, make it 15 to 12.
Still me.
1 Chronicles 15 to 12. And he said unto them, ye are the chief of the fathers of the Levites. Sanctify yourselves, both ye and your brethren, that you may bring up the ark of Yahuwah Elohim of Yasharal unto the place that I have prepared for it. For because you did it not at the first, Yahuwah Elohim made a breach upon us, for that we sought him not after the due order. And it says, so the priests and the Levites sanctified themselves to bring up the ark of Yahuwah Elohim of Yasharal. When you heard what he said these Levites were the chief of the fathers, and he told them to sanctify themselves that they might bring up the ark for the place that he prepared for it. When you hear that, what comes to your mind? What do you think of? You know when you look at David, right? His whole desire was to prepare a place of habitation for the Ark of the Covenant to rest, right? Now we need to turn around and look at ourselves, and that we need to sanctify ourselves, that the Ark of the Covenant can have a place to dwell in us, because that's his desire. You know, we read the other day, he said, you are the what? Temple of Yah. And he said, I will walk in them, and I will be in them, and I will be the Elohim, and they will be my people. He said, but he made a breach on us. You know what it is to make a breach? For an opening or a separation. Do you know what, Troy, you know where this breach come from, which David is referring to? Do you know what story he's referring to and why he makes the statement that he made? Say we didn't seek him after the due order. Well, in the book of Samuel, they went to seek to bring up the Ark of the Covenant, and somebody touched it, and they died. Because they didn't have the Levites. They didn't do it the way that the man told you to carry it. Only the Levites were to touch the Ark of the Covenant and carry it and bring it up. And they didn't do it in that fashion. Now when we turn around and we look, now at the point that we in now, before Hamashiach came, we didn't seek Yah after the due order. You know what I'm saying? Therefore there was a breach that had been made upon us. And therefore he had to close it. Let's look at Romans chapter 3 real fast, about verse 20. Make it 19. Now it says, now we know that what things soever the law saith, it saith to them who are under the law, that every mouth may be stopped, and the whole world may become guilty before Elohim. Well, we already know David's already stating that you need to sanctify yourself because we didn't do it properly. You know what I'm saying? Therefore, a breach was made on us. He say, but therefore the deeds of the law, there shall no flesh be justified in his sight, for by the law is the knowledge of sin. But now the righteousness of Elohim without the law is manifest, being witnessed by the law and the prophets, even the righteousness of Elohim which is by faith of Yahushua HaMashiach unto all and upon all them that believe, for there is no difference. For all have sinned and came short of the esteem of Elohim, being justified freely by his grace through the redemption that is in Yahushua HaMashiach, Now, you know, we just been talking about this the other day. We've already looked at the righteousness which is not of the law before, right? What is that righteousness, gentlemen? Huh?
Faith.
That's the faith in the Mashiach. That's the righteousness without the law. See, what this was referring to is if they would have believed what Yah said on properly how and to carry up this Ark of the Covenant the first time, would there have been a breach? There would have been no need, because it sorely displeased David when the man died, because he was like, how are we going to get this up here? Then he considered we didn't do it how we were supposed to do it. You know what I'm saying? That's what this kind of thing just mess us up in the first place, is we do stuff how we want to do it instead of do it how he say do it. Look at Ephesians chapter 1. Mm. 1 and 10. We still holding 1 Chronicles 15. It says, on whom also we have obtained inheritance, being predestinated according to the purpose of him who worked all things after the counsel of his own will, that we should be to the praise of his esteem, who first trusted in the Mashiach, and whom ye also trusted after you had heard the word of truth, the gospel of your salvation, and whom also after that ye believed, you were sealed with that Ruach HaKodesh of promise, which is the earnest of our inheritance until the redemption of the purchased possession, unto the praise of his esteem. Wherefore I also, after I heard of your faith in the Master Yahusha, and the love unto all Kodeshim, cease not to give thanks for you, making mention of you in my prayers, that the Elohim of our Master Yahusha HaMashiach, the Ab of esteem, may give unto you the spirit of wisdom and revelation and knowledge of him. Now, when we turn around, he's sitting here asking telling these priests they need to set themselves apart, right? So this ark can have a place to dwell at. Now, when he say you first trusted in him, what do you think this would make you do if your faith in the Mashiach, what that would do? Huh? What you think that faith in him would do?
Strengthen.
Well, let's look at Acts 26 and 16.
Is that?
26 and 14. Acts 26 and 14. She gonna pull your food on the floor.
Pull you on the phone.
Your fight come with that.
Pretty much justice is what I was saying.
And we're gonna smell my cologne. Azaro Chrome Sport.
Get just.
And when we were all fallen to the earth, I heard a voice speaking unto me, saying in the Hebrew tongue, Shaul, Shaul, why persecute thou me? Is it hard for thee to kick against the pricks? And I said, who art thou, master? And he said, I am Yahusha, whom thou persecute. But rise and stand up upon thy feet. Hold on. Why do you think Hamashiach told Saul that he persecuted him? Why do you think he said that?
Because he was a Pharisee, he was killing those who believed in nothing.
So how would he be persecuting the Mashiach?
I mean, when you persecute, I mean you deny that he.
That too, but we know Paul said, hold this right here, 1 Timothy chapter 1. It might be 2 Timothy chapter 1. 1 Timothy chapter 1. And about verse 12. Or make it 11. He said, according to the glorious gospel of the blessed Elohim, which was committed to my trust. And I thank Yahushua HaMashiach, our master, who have enabled me, for he have counted me faithful, putting me into the ministry, who was before a blasphemer and a persecutor and injurious. But I obtained mercy because I did it ignorantly and unbelief. So if he say did he persecute a Mashiach? If he did, he just said that's what a Mashiach told him. So how did Paul do that? How did he pull that off?
I was told that he was killing the Christians. Is that even true?
I mean, he was killing Yahudim.
Oh.
Why they call killing Christians that then?
They just call those who were Yahudim, them people say they were Christians. Well, let's look at Matthew 25, about verse 41.
Why did he start killing Yahudim?
Because he didn't believe in the Mashiach at that time. So he thought these people were blaspheming and that they were worthy of death. According to the law, if a Mashiach was false, that would have been the proper thing to do. You know what I'm saying? He believed that these people were taking the steam away from Yahuwah by saying that Yahushua was the son of Elohim. Though I put it this way, they knew that there was to be a son of Elohim, but they didn't believe that Yahushua was the one. They felt like he was blaspheming. They felt like he was blaspheming because, as we read last night, the book was sealed to him. They couldn't understand. Matthew 25 and verse 41. Then shall he say unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his malachim. Hold on. He say, For I was hungered, and you gave me no meat, and I was thirsty, and you gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and you took me not in. Hold on. He said, I was a stranger, and you took me not in, naked, and you clothed me not, sick and in prison, you visited me not. Then they shall also answer him, saying, Master, when saw we thee a hunger, or a thirst, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister unto thee? Then he shall answer them, saying, Truly I say unto you, inasmuch as you did it not to one of the least of these, you did it not to me. Remember now, he said, he that is joined to a Mashiach is one spirit. So what Paul at that time was doing to those people, in essence, he wasn't doing it to them. He was doing it to Yahushua. Remember, he said, he that despised not man, but Yah. So when he was doing these things, persecuting these people, killing these people, go to Acts chapter 7. Matter of fact, maybe 6 we could use, but it might be 7. Acts chapter 6 now, about verse 1. He said, In those days, when the number of the disciples were multiplied, there arose a murmuring of the Grecians against the Hebrews, because their widows were neglected in the daily ministration. Then the 12 called the multitude of the disciples unto them, and said, It is not reason that we should leave the word of Elohim and serve tables. Wherefore, brethren, look ye out among you 7 men of honest report, full of the Ruach HaKodesh and wisdom, whom we may appoint over this business. But we will give ourselves continually to prayer and to the ministry of the word. And the saying pleased the whole multitude, and they chose Stephen, a man full of faith in the Ruach HaKodesh, Philip, Procurius, Nicanor, Timon, Parmenius, Nicholas, a proselyte of Antioch. So if Nicholas was a proselyte, what was he, gentlemen?
Gentile.
He was a Gentile. That's a proselyte is a religious convert. You know what I'm saying?
They'll tell you that he was They'll tell you that he was cut off Israel.
But guess what though? Somebody of the seed of Yasharal can't be converted. The only thing they can be converted from is from being a sinner to a Kodeshim. Because like you say, the law of Yah is truth converting the soul. It'll change your soul. It should change your mind. It should make you go from unfaithful to faithful. You know what I'm saying? It should take you from not following him after the due order, to where that breach was upon you, for you to return and follow him after the proper order. You know what I'm saying? It just said, if I can look at it, man, we done all served this man outside the due order. And therefore a breach was upon us. That's why when you turn around and you look at certain bad things might happen to you, is because you're not serving the man after the due order. So then he says, and the word of Elohim increased, and the number of the disciples multiplied in Jerusalem greatly, and a great company of the priests were obedient to the faith. And Stephen, full of faith and power, did great wonders and miracles among the people. Then there arose certain of the synagogue, which is called the synagogue of the Libertines and the Syrians, and Alexandrians, and of them Cecilia and of Asia, disputing with Stephen. And they were not able to resist the wisdom and the spirit by which he spake. Then they suborned men which said, we have heard him speak blasphemous words against Moses and against Elohim. And they stirred up the people and the elders and the scribes and came upon him and caught him and brought him to the council and set up false witnesses which said, this man ceased not to speak blasphemous words against this Kadesh place and the law. For we have heard him say that this Yahushua of Nazareth shall destroy this place and shall change the customs which Moses delivered us. And all that sat in the council looked steadfastly on him and saw his face had it been the face of a Malachim. Why did they sit back and look at? They said they seen his face as a Malachim. Why would they say that? Why would they say that? Corey, you got an idea why they would say that? Think about it, y'all. Why would they say that when they looked at him, he just hit them with the wisdom, which they were not able to resist, and they couldn't resist the spirit by which he spake. If the Ruach by which he spake, you know what this go back to, right? You know what this go back to? Y'all know what this means? Hold this, look at Luke chapter 12. We still holding Acts chapter 26. You got to remember, in the face of all this opposition, you sit back and realize that Stephen was showing you the meaning of the word Heman, right? The name Heman, right? He stayed faithful. He didn't budge, he didn't bold, he didn't fold, or none of that. 12 and about verse 5, make it 4. And I say unto you, my friends, be not afraid of them that kill the body, and after that they have no more that they can do. But I will forewarn you whom you shall fear. Fear him which after ye have killed have power to cast into hell. Yea, I say unto you, fear him. Are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 farthings, and not one of them is forgotten before Elohim? For even the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Fear not, therefore, you are more valuable than many sparrows. Also I say unto you, whosoever shall confess me before men, him shall the Son of Man also confess before the Malachim of Elohim. But he that deny me before men shall be denied before the Malachim of Elohim. Whosoever shall speak a word against the Son of Man, it shall be forgiven him. But unto him that blaspheme against the Ruach HaKodesh, it shall not be forgiven. And when they bring you unto the synagogues and unto the magistrates and powers, take you no thought of how or what thing you shall answer or what you shall say. For the Ruach HaKodesh shall teach you in the same hour what you ought to say. Don't you realize that that's the spirit that was in him, causing him to speak, since we already read in Acts chapter 6, it said he was full of it. So why does it say his face is as a Malachim?
It's like when Moses came down, his face shining upon him.
His face shining. That's why they said his face. What does Ecclesiastes 8:1 say about a man's face?
YAH causes man's face to shine.
Say wisdom calls a man's face to shine. You know what I'm saying? Don't you know when you see a lot of them Malachim, you read about it and people say they were like lights, shining and all this type of stuff. So when they looked at him and they seen his face shining, it was wisdom that caused his face to shine. If they looked at him and seen his face as a Malachim, as a messenger, what else would it be? Now, there's another place, the reason why we came here, because you know who was breathing over that, stamping what they were finna get ready to do to Stephen? Paul. Let's look and see that in the 7th chapter of the very same chapter. Let's look at 7 and 51, and we'll just roll it right on down to the 8th chapter, because Saul, Shaul, he right there with it. Paul, he was right there with it. You know, his name was changed from Saul to Paul.
Acts or Luke?
Acts. I don't know where you get Luke from. He said, ye stiff-necked and uncircumcised in heart and ears, you do always resist the Ruach HaKodesh as your fathers did, so do ye. You realize he was quoting Jeremiah, right? 6 and 10, right? When he say your ears are uncircumcised, the word of Yah is a reproach to you. You don't got no delight in it. He say, which of the prophets have not your fathers persecuted? They have slain them, which showed before of the coming of the just one, of whom you have been now the betrayers and murderers, who have received the law by dispensation of Malachim and have not kept it. When they heard these things, they were cut to their heart and they gnashed on them with their teeth. You already sit back and look at it, right? When he told them, he said, not only did you kill those who brought you the word to show you the coming of the just one, Because, you know, he told us how they mocked his messengers and misused them. You know what I'm talking about? Slayed his prophets and all of these things. Our people did all that. But then he said, you got the law from on high, from Shamahim, from messengers, and didn't even keep it. That's why they were cut. Remember, the word of Elohim is sharper than a two-edged sword, dividing asunder to the joints and marrow, which shows the thoughts and intents of the heart. Remember, he said, I slain them by the words of the prophets. I hewed them by the words of the prophets. You use something with that sword. Remember, we looked at that, showing you that with Agag, Samuel being a prophet, cutting him into pieces. You know what I'm saying? See, this word will go ahead and it'll slay you up, cut you up, run you up, all of that. And it's going to show what's in your heart. See, when they were hit in their heart, they showed the intent. Let's see what the intent of their heart was. But he, being full of the Ruach HaKodesh, looked up steadfastly into Shamahim and saw the esteem of Elohim and Yahusha standing on the right hand of Elohim. And said, behold, I see the Shamahims open and the Son of Man standing on the right hand of Elohim. Then they cried out with a loud voice and stopped their ears and ran upon him with one accord. And they cast him out of the city and stoned him. And the witnesses laid down their clothes at a young man's feet whose name was Saul. And they stoned Stephen, calling upon Elohim and saying, Master Yahusha, receive my Ruach. And he kneeled down and cried with a loud voice, Master, lay not this sin to their charge. And when he had said this, he fell asleep. And Saul was consenting unto his death. And at that time there was a great persecution against the body which was at Jerusalem. And they were all scattered abroad throughout the regions of Yehuda and Samaria, except the apostles. And devout men carried Stephen to his burial and made great lamentation for him. As for Saul, he made havoc of the body, entering into every house, hailing men and women, committed them to prison. So he's going hard. You know who else got locked up in the prison for speaking the word? Who got locked up for prison speaking the word?
Oh, Daniel.
Daniel did. Daniel went. Jeremiah did, though. You know where they locked him up at? In the priest's house. Y'all should remember that. We looked at that a while back. Locked him up in the priest's house, just like they did with the Mashiach. Locked him up in the priest's house. But now you see how he persecuted the Mashiach, and he said, I'm Yahusha whom you persecute. Because if he's persecuting the body, who was he actually persecuting?
Mashiach.
He was actually persecuting the Mashiach. So that's why he told him, I'm Yahusha whom thou persecute. Go back to Acts 26, though. And all that, you see how Stephen remained faithful. He remained so faithful that even when people were taking his life, he said, Father, don't lay this sin at their charge. He said, don't hold it against them. The same thing you seen Mashiach doing when he was up there on the stake. Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. The same thing that King Hezekiah did when he asked, and when he prayed to Yah to pardon all the people who kept Passover, not after the due order, because they hadn't sanctified themselves. You know what I'm saying? So when we look in 26 and 16 of Acts, the 26th chapter, verse 16. He said, but rise and stand upon thy feet, for I have appeared unto thee for this purpose, to make thee a minister and a witness both of these things which thou hast seen, and of those things in which I will appear unto thee, delivering thee from the people and from the Gentiles unto whom now I send thee, to open their eyes and to turn them from darkness to light, from the power of Shaitan unto Elohim, that they may receive forgiveness of sins and inheritance among them which are sanctified by the faith that is in me. This is what is actually going to set us apart. The faith in the Mashiach is what's going to set you apart. Don't you understand your faith and obedience to a Mashiach set you apart from those who are of the seed of Yasharal? Because all those that are Yasharal are not of Yasharal. Mm-hmm. So all those who are of the seed, they have actually not sanctified themselves. See, and they don't seek the man after the due order. When you sat back and you looked at what Saul was doing, you know what I'm saying? There was a breach upon him. When you look at all those people who was threatening and running upon him on run accord, they had not sanctified themselves. They were not seeking Yah after the due order. See, he was telling the people to sanctify themselves, to have a place for the Ark of the Covenant to dwell, to bring it up. See, come on, what is it? 2 Samuel chapter 6 it is. It might be 2 Chronicles chapter 5. Let me look at 2 Chronicles chapter 5. See, that's what 2 Chronicles chapter 5, verse 6. Hello? Hello? How you doing, Carol? It says, also King Solomon, all the congregation of Yasharal that were assembled unto him before the ark, sacrificed sheep and oxen, which could not be told nor numbered for the multitude. And the priest brought in the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah into his place, to the oracle of the house, into the most Kadesh place, even under the wings of the cherubims. For the cherubims spread forth their wings over the place of the ark, and the cherubims covered the ark and the staves thereof above. And they drew out the staves of the ark, that the end of the staves was seen from the ark before the oracle, but they were not seen without. And there it is unto this day. There was nothing in the ark save the 2 tables which Moses put therein at Horeb, when Yahuwah made a covenant with the children of Yasharal when they came out of Mishraim. Now, what do you think it could mean? The only thing in the ark of the covenant is what? Not just the 10, but the 2 tables of stone. The covenant. That's the only thing that's in there. Now, why would that be important for us? To symbolize what? That's the only thing that ought to be in you. You know what I'm saying? When you look at a Mashiach, right? Remember we looked at, they say Yasharal is an empty vine. I mean, he emptied himself out. You know what I'm saying? But he bring fruit unto himself. Now you got to be able to empty yourself out. But when he opened up that ark ain't nothing. That ark wasn't nothing but a vessel to carry something. You know what I'm saying? See, hold on. 2 Corinthians chapter 5. Actually, it's chapter 4. Second Corinthians 4 and 7. Make it 6. For Elohim who shine the light to shine out of darkness have shined in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the esteem of Elohim and the face of Yahushua HaMashiach. But we have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellency of the power may be of Elohim and not of us. Now you sit back and you say, we have this treasure in earthen vessels. You know, the Ark of the Covenant wasn't made, but it wasn't nothing but a box. It was a box made out of wood. You know what I'm talking about? It was an earthen vessel. That's all it was. But that covenant is a treasure. You know it's a treasure for the simple fact that these people walk around looking for it. These people look for the Ark of the Covenant. You got many different groups of people claim they possess it. You know, they made a movie about it. About 2, 3 of them. If I'm not mistaken. Y'all know what movie that is? You know who made a movie about it? It's before y'all. All y'all were born, really. Indiana Jones. Raiders of the Lost Ark. You know what I'm saying? You know the dude from GOCC, man. That man say that the Ark of the Covenant is going to be hidden. We going to look at it in the kingdom. Have any of y'all ever heard that the Ark of the Covenant will be in the kingdom?
I heard that it was took up into the sky.
Now, I'm going to ask y'all a question for those of y'all who may remember. What does the book say is going to happen to the Ark of the Covenant? We would no longer speak on it. It would never come to mind. Wouldn't even be mentioned at all. Why wouldn't it be mentioned at all? Remember, the only thing in the Ark of the Covenant is what?
Chapter
10.
So why would the Ark of the Covenant not be mentioned at all?
Because you could have come and ran with us.
He put that in our heart.
He put it in the heart. And what was the Ark of the Covenant? What's on top of it?
The cherubim.
The mercy seat. And what is the mercy seat?
That's the throne.
Why would there be a need for it if y'all going to be on earth with you? Now let's look at Hebrew 10 and 7 while we still holding first Chronicles 15. And let's just see, well, it don't have that exact quote, but we'll just read it anyway. Then said I, lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me to do thy will, O Elohim. Above, when he said sacrifice and offering, And burnt offering and offering for sin thou would not, neither had pleasure therein, which are offered by the Torah. Then said he, Lo, I come to do thy will, O Elohim. He take away the first, that he may establish the second, by which we were all sanctified through the offering of the body of Yahushua HaMashiach once and for all. Now we know what he's quoting in Psalms 40, and it says, Thy law is within my heart. Remember, he said, the words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. The flesh profit nothing. So he's letting you know the thing that was in him was the 2 tables of stone. How do we know this? 2 Corinthians chapter 3 and about verse 5. Let's look at it. That's going to tell us how we know this. See, you heard what he said? He said, I came to do thy will. See, you know, Mashiach came and it was faithful. The reason why he was able to be faithful, because the word rested in him. It directed him where he ought to go, where he ought to be. And that's what sanctified him and set him apart, was his faith in the Father, that the Father was able to accomplish all that he spoke of him. It says, not that we are sufficient of ourselves to think anything as of ourselves, but our sufficiency is of Elohim, who have also made us able ministers of the New Testament, not of the letter, but of the Ruach. For the letter killed, but the Spirit give life. Now we know that. When this man came up with these tables of stone, you already know that these people broke it. They were dead. You not realize this here, how we know the letter killed? In Exodus 32, Moses go up on the mount, right? Come back down, what they doing? They round their horn, partying it up, living it up. And then what did he end up telling them Levites to do? Say, gird your sword on your side and kill it. And 3,000 men died because the letter killed, because the law said, for you committing idolatry, you ought to die. What about the numbers when that man was picking up sticks? The law say, you got to die. The letter killed you. You understand what that means? You understand what that means? When we sitting there looking at people, well, the letter killed them. The letter killed them. He said, but the Ruach give life. That's what a Mashiach came to bring. You know what I'm talking about? Was to bring life. He can only bring life once you have sought him after the proper order. See, you turn around and you look at it, them people around there sitting back looking at, look at Saul. Take Saul, for instance. I'm talking about King Saul. Now, he done messed up, right? And he said, y'all not answering him no more. So how did he seek to get an answer from him?
He tried to go to spirits, divination.
He went to a woman who, a diviner, a woman with a familiar spirit, to pull up Samuel to tell him. You already got a breach on you. You already done messed up, and you try to seek Yah after the wrong way. Let's sit back and look at it just as something that we just seen just happen. I just told y'all, I seen a woman dress her son up in a prison outfit that said Department of Corrections inmate. She got on the same outfit with handcuffs on. Now, some of these people, matter of fact, Candace was just telling me today, she didn't take her baby trick-or-treating, but you took her to the church house to go get candy. Oh, wow. I say, but you don't see that. I say, she didn't really sit there and think about it till I really posed it to her. Like, you don't see how hypocritical that is. Because it was funny, because there's a white dude, that white dude, Allen, you know who I'm talking about, pointing him out in the gym. You remember who I'm talking about? White dude that was talking to me, talking about, he wanted to see the videos. Yeah. He ain't been the same since. He had to, because the same enthusiasm like he had when he seen me, it's kind of tapered off. Hey, man, how you doing? Good to see you. It's not the same. I told you that, though, didn't I? All he had to do was see one. He was like, he heard me talking to Neptalis. She called me when I was in the gym one day. He was like, yeah, man, those are great words of wisdom you got there, man. You're a preacher or something? I said, yeah, I do a little something, man. He said, oh, man, those were great words. First he asked me, was that my daughter? I said, I know I can't look that old. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm talking about? No, if I had a daughter, if I would have had a daughter that old, I would have had to produce them in about 97, 98 while I was still in high school. I do have peers who have children that are about to graduate high school, though. Quite a few of them. And we sit back and look at that like, whoa, I remember when you was carrying that child. Now they about to graduate high school.
No, they're carrying the child.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Hey, some might be for some of them. It was just wild, cause we sitting back looking at it. I ain't gonna call no names, but I could sit back and think about 2, 3 girls I know who were pregnant when we was in high school, boy, and they child is about to graduate. You know what I'm saying? I mentioned one could have my homeboy. I'm sitting there treatment looking at Brees, Lil E sister, who he got the baby from. You know Brees from Lil Show. Brees, Lil Show, you be out there in Justine. You know what I'm talking about? Well, he stayed in Atlantic Guard. Shoot, boy, the baby he got with Lil E sister, man, shoot. Boy, he a senior at Inglewood playing football. I'm tripping. I remember when he was like this here, boy, this man a grown man. This man's a grown man. It's just wild, you know what I'm saying? So he was like, yeah, man, you know, boom, 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 man. So one day he asked me, you got any words of wisdom for me? I say, babe, man, I'm in here lifting weights, man, and this ain't like we just got wisdom cards you just throw out anywhere out here to you, man. Hey, take this way, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to lift some, I'm squatting here, sir. I don't want to talk to you right now. But he was like, yeah, man, this, that, there, and the third. I said, well, yeah, go ahead and check out the YouTube channel, man. He said, let me get your email address, man. I'll send you some feedback. He ain't sent no feedback. But I know this right here, though. He ain't been the same. He ain't been the same. He ain't been the same.
Start hitting with the white version of this, you know it like this.
Nah, you know what? And also, though, like just catching him off guard, even if he don't hear all that there. We ain't talking about what you YouTube. I had caught him off guard just with that. He said, so are you a Christian? I said, absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? They don't be ready. He said, he's 63 years old. He's like, I've been a Christian for 30, 40 years. Oh, you know this gonna rock him? Huh? He might be around here talking bad about America or something? Like this here little niglet.
Talking about my country.
Hey man, you know what I'm saying? You know, they get real. They can get real fast, you know what I'm saying? Get real fast, you know what I'm saying? It could be a little, you know what I'm saying? Come get my gun. It's time to go nigger hunting. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, he could PPR. I know it was serious before because he introduced me to his wife like 2-3 times. You know what I'm saying? Like he had already introduced me to his wife. He was like, yep. First he told me, he was like, yeah, man, you got some of the best workout clothes in the gym, man. We always sit around, man, wondering what you're going to wear next. I'm like, oh, for real, man. You know, hey, he's 63 years old, man. I mean, what you expect? They don't...
John,
man, I ain't. Hey, man, I ain't even pay that no mind.
You know what he telling you, right?
Come on, man. Don't do the man like that. Don't do the man like that. Don't do him like that, bloodbath.
All those of you old white guys, all of them like you too.
Come on, man. Oh, man, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm gonna tell you something, man. I done dealt with a lot of Caucasians. You know what I'm saying? They different than us. They'll say things that a black person might like your style and what you wear, but they not gonna openly tell you that.
No.
They don't care nothing about telling you that.
That means they a little fruity with it.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's
they'll stop me in your tracks and be like, hey man,
there's some great shoes.
Yeah, I love the shoes, man.
They do that.
Good on you, man. I don't think I can pull that off.
They do that.
He be like, gay.
That's what they do. That's how they operate. I can remember, man, it's just like, okay, when I was hustling, you could be dealing with a black person. A black person I'm talking about who's smoking. Mm-hmm. They gonna want something every time they do something for you. If they go to the store, they want to hit. If they do this, they want to hit. If they give you a ride, they want to hit. White smokers will give you a ride, bring you food, bring your blunts, and don't want nothing.
And they'll buy you a shirt. Hey man, I bought you a shirt.
You know what I'm saying? They will pull up and be like, I'm for real. They'll pull up and be like, hey man, I was in the store, man. I was thinking about you, man. I seen these Dutchess. They had them on sale, man. Here you go.
I don't want nothing for it, man.
They do that. If they take a liking to you, they will just buy you stuff. You know what I'm saying? They will just buy you lunch and all this type of stuff. That's how they operate. We so jaded, we thinking that when black people do it, oh, this nigga wants something. He up to something. So when you see them do it, you thinking the same thing though. But in actuality, if you've been around enough white people to know, that's just how they roll. You know what I'm saying? They roll and don't want nothing. Now, all of them ain't like that. You know what I'm saying? Don't get it twisted, but a lot of them ain't like that, man. They don't even mean nothing by it. Like, they ain't got no problem saying, it's a nice shirt, man. Nice shirt. I really like that outfit, man. You know what I'm saying? You look really nice today. You know what I'm saying? You've been working out. It looks like you slimmed down a bit, guy. You know, keep doing your thing. I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? You want a coffee? So I'm about to go get a coffee. You want a coffee?
Can I see your legs?
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? Well, I'm saying that dude had, I told you, man, he just don't remember me. Because when I used to train there all the time. Because one day, man, you know what I'm saying? I would do like this here, isometric posing, trying to get some blood in there. And he was like this here, he was like, man, he said, man, you're looking good there, man. You know what I'm saying? He said, man, but how do your legs look? Because he trying to, boom, boom. At the time, my legs wasn't proportioned with my upper body. So his exact words was, your hulk up top, but your legs need a little work. I said, boy, we train them now. Please don't think we skip leg day. So when he came back around again, I remembered that. You know what I'm talking about? I'm going to let you know something, buddy. I'm going to let you know something. They up the par. They had to catch up. They were lagging behind, though. You don't get like that, though. My upper body took off faster than my legs did. You know what I'm saying? Like, boom. You can have body parts that be like that. You could train shoulders and your shoulders could be like this here, but your biceps ain't caught up. No, I done seen dudes where their shoulders overshadow their biceps. You know what I'm saying? You always gonna have certain body parts that just go. You know what I'm saying? And you'll have some that be like, you know what I'm saying? We're not coming along for the ride. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just how it be though. And now that I sit back and I use it like that there, you have to make sure that your faith and obedience is in exact symmetry. That one ain't lagging behind. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? They gotta make sure they like this here, man, perfect. They call, in the bodybuilding world, they call it aesthetics. Everything is even. You know what I'm talking about? Continuing on. 2 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 5. He say, verse 6. He say, who also have made us able ministers of the New Testament, not of the letter, but of the Ruach. For the letter kill, but the spirit gives life. But if the ministration of death written and engraven in stones was glorious, so that the children of Yasharal could not steadfastly behold the face of Moses. Oh, I'm sorry, I meant verse 3. For the esteem of his countenance, which glory was to be done away. Come up here to verse 2, though. That's what I wanted. He said, ye are our epistle written in our hearts, known and read of all men. For as much as you are manifestly declared to be the epistle of a Mashiach, ministered by us, written not with ink, but with the spirit of the living Elohim, not in tables of stone, but in fleshly tables of the heart. So you are earthen vessel like the Ark of the Covenant. And instead of having in there 2 tables of stone, you need to have this stuff written on the fleshly table of your heart to go with you wherever you go. You know what I'm talking about? And the only way you can get it, to have it, because he said, go bring it to the place that we prepared for. You're going to have to seek him after the due order. You know what I'm saying? He said, I have prepared a habitation for my God. That's what David said, right? But I want to prepare a habitation for him. Now you sit back and you made in these earthen vessels, and you are a prepared habitation for a resting place for your God. He seeks and desires a place to dwell. And you got to give him one. See, come on back to 1 Chronicles 15. But the only way you're going to be able to do it is seek him after the due order. We kind of talked about that a little bit earlier in the week. You got to serve, well, last week, you got to serve him in the beauty of Kadesh, and you got to be sanctified by the faith that's in a Mashiach. See, we just like Paul, we not of them who glory in the flesh or have confidence in it. I don't have confidence in the fact that I'm going to see the Yahshua. I know it means something. I know what advantage it gives me, chiefly in every way. Because the oracles of Yah were given unto our fathers. That's the advantage that we have. He said, I have shown my statutes and judgments to Jacob. He have not done so with any other nation. Ain't that what he said? So that's where my confidence come in at, because the covenant, the promises, the service of Elohim, the adoption, all these things, even the coming of a Mashiach, all these things pertain to the seed of Yasharal. Hello? Shalom. All these things pertain to us. But if we put our confidence in, I got a circumcised penis, like I told y'all before, When you look at most Hebrew Israelites, what all do you see? We Israel, we Israel, we Israel, we Israel, we Israel. All manner of wickedness is going along amongst the people. Ain't nobody seeking the man after the due order. Now, let's say if y'all allow us to get up with the brother from IUIC, do you know how explosive that conversation is going to be? And it ain't going to be because this, that, there, and the third. We just like, hey, we just want to sit down and holler with you, brother. I mean, I bet we don't really care what you're going to do in the city because we ain't going to be out where you at anyway. We ain't going to be doing what you doing anyway. We ain't finna be posting up at the bus terminal harassing these people. You know what I'm talking about? Passing out flyers so you can get a bunch of black folks walking around here looking like fools with window panes on the bottom of their t-shirt. You know what I'm talking about? Thinking you doing something. That's all they want to do, have little wind chimes on the bottom of their shirt. We Israel united in Christ. Sit back and get themselves names like Shamalam Bamalam and say Jesus Christ in the same breath. I still don't understand. And I'm telling you, IUIC fight you hard about that. We don't know the name of the Most High, brother. So we just say Jesus Christ. That sounds about right. You know what I'm saying? You don't know the name of Hamashiach. You don't know the name of the Father, but your name is Salazar Bam Shamawin. That's their names, though. You know they get themselves names like that. Am I lying, though? You know what I'm saying? Got names you can't even pronounce. Like, what type of Hebrew is you speaking? That's the names they be giving themselves, though. Am I lying, though? Am I lying, though? You know enough Hebrew to give yourself a name, but you don't know he who you serve. You don't know his name. What was the dude's name sent you that message? Yeah. Bet his name was Tamazayi Bam Wham Wham.
It was, bro. It was.
Like this here, you can't even speak it right. 15 and 13, though. He said, because you did it not at the first, but Yahuwah Elohim made a breach upon us because we sought him not after the due order. Now sit back and think about it, right? He said, man, he wanted you to, and he said to sanctify yourself, you and your brethren, that you may bring up the ark into the place that I have prepared for it. He said, because we didn't do it after the due order in the first, he put a breach on us. Well, we know when we turn around and we look at Adam, he didn't seek after Yah in the due order first either, and he made a breach on it. So then he had to turn around and come back and correct this breach, right? Look at verse 14. So the priests and the Levites sanctified themselves to bring up the ark of Yahuwah Elohim and Yasharal. And the children of the Levites bear the ark of Elohim upon their shoulders with the staves thereon, as Moses commanded according to the word of Yahuwah. Hello? What you thought about when you heard that, Troy? Take up your cross and follow me. You notice, right? Hello? You notice, right? Wooden stave, right? Wooden stave on your shoulder. Bring it up into the place to bring up the ark of Yahuwah Elohim. You know what I'm saying? That means you got to seek the man after the due order. I mean, you have to take that affliction on and be faithful. Because you know when you actually look at how the staves is set up, they set up to go through that ark just like you setting him up on that stake. You know what I'm talking about? You carrying it up here on your shoulder. One person on this side, one person on this side. You know what I'm talking about?
You have to be shit'em wood.
Yep. That's what the law said. And we already done dealt with that before about that shit'em wood, right? He said, and David spake to the chief of the Levites to appoint their brethren to be singers with instruments of music, psalteries and harps and cymbals, sounding by lifting up the voice with joy. So the Levites appointed Haman, the son of Joel, and of his brethren, Asaph, the son of Bechariah, and the sons of Moriah, their brethren, Ethan, the son of Cushiah, and with them their brethren of the second degree, Zechariah, Ben, Jazel, Shemiramoth, Jehiel, Unai, Elab, Benaiah, Messiah, Mattiah, Eliphaz, Mechaniah, Obed-Edom, Jael the porters. So the singers Heman, Asaph, and Ethan were appointed to sound with cymbals of brass. When you look at cymbals of brass, you know what kind of sound a cymbal of brass make? You the cymbal man, ain't you?
No, that's like the little monkey. He'd be like,
Yep. That was your favorite toy coming on.
It'll be on the movies.
It'd be on the movies. Now you notice, why is that important when you sit back and look at he appointed men to sing, to give praise? You know, we just read about it the other day. When the ark getting brought up in the place where he prepared it. And he's telling them to sing praise about it, right? Sanctified. Don't you read that in Revelation 19? Where they sang for joy, hallelujah, Yahuwah Elohim omnipotent reign. Select men to sing praise. Because that's what, like this here now, Corey say he going to be the one like this, especially that outfit he had on last week. Corey say, Buck Hill, when we get somebody who can sing, he say he leading the way. I ain't mad at him. We're going to let him too. Who? I can't see him. Where they at? I'm looking near and far.
Thank you, Dwight.
Far and wide. Look here, man. Don't let him put a battery in your back. Put some 93 grade gas in. You know what I'm talking about? You've been done crook the whole engine up, the engine been done flooded. You be like, man, what's wrong with this thing? What's wrong? Bah, bah. You know what I'm saying? Bah. I think backfiring. You know what I'm saying? It's like this here, man. She can't sing solo. Gotta have somebody cover that thing up. We ain't got no singers now. One of them wanted to wear a move sundress. We had to go ahead and send her on her way. She could have held it down. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, shoot. I ain't got nothing to do with her wanting to wear a move sundress.
I said we can help Brittany out.
Man, we can't help our live.
We can.
Can't man don't have nobody with no auto-tune singing live.
You wouldn't notice it.
It was like this here gonna have somebody around here. Then they gonna be around here talking about the people ain't real. They singers got auto-tune.
They wouldn't know it. That's what they do that in live recordings. They singers have things that put their voices in the right pitch.
Now see, he said this from day one about her with the auto-tune. Just for what's the word we looking for full disclosure. Cause the first time she came in here talking about she could sing and hit that SWB week.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Mike was like this here. He said we can do something with it to get you some auto-tune. You know what I'm saying?
I can't.
Right now we ain't got nobody. We ain't got nobody, cause we know T can't sing. We know Mouth can't sing. Mouth, we know you can't sing unless you're gonna be singing around here, unless you came in here like you came in that door. What you got in there? That's the only thing song you wanna sing. We know Lil Muffin can't sing. Lee, you can sing.
I don't sing.
Lee said,
I'm talking about he couldn't finish getting out of you home.
I don't say.
I already know. I just wanted to see what she was gonna say. I knew it was gonna be something humorous.
She ain't lying.
Who all on here? Kira, you sang Kira? Who else on here? I know Corey gonna sing, and we gonna let him too. You say she'll write. Kira say she'll write the music. So we got another maestro. But we got some rappers though. We got Will, we got Troy, we got Link though. What you can do, Brian? Nothing but eat apples on it.
Brian gonna do the deep boy like boys and men.
Oh, he gonna do the deep boy. Oh, that's what he gonna do. He gonna be like, girl. You know after you done left me, I couldn't go on no further. You the love of my life. Hold on. You know the song. He know his part is lonely.
That smooth nigga to just talk.
Just talk. He like I said, he don't say no harmony, no nothing, girl. You know it's been a long time. You know what I'm saying? Brian said he could sing though. He said one day he could sing better than Brittany.
I remember that.
You still stand by that? He said he stand by that.
Oh man, what?
I didn't think so.
Ooh, he said he stand by that.
Like you.
Exactly.
I
Okay,
stand on.
I can say better than you.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can. Run about the tomb real quick.
I ain't got
This nigga scared.
This nigga scared.
This nigga scared.
What she calling y'all, Brian?
We're in the middle of something.
He said we're in the middle of something, but guess what, y'all? Sooner we get finished.
No escaping this.
Sooner we get finished.
Right, so we got all night.
First Chronicles 16 and 34. Y'all on the phone all right? Y'all don't want to talk. Nobody want to talk. Y'all all right? What y'all doing? Huh? I'm trying to see who can sing. Now they trying to like this here, man. Y'all might can get on iTunes, man. Sell them things for 5 cents a copy. What they selling for? 99 cents or $1?
Nothing more.
You know what I'm talking about? Shoot. I'm like this here, boy. Corey got them all like this here. Ain't nobody want to do nothing with Corey. Corey went like this here. Them niggas went to humming, clapping. It's on tape. Corey like this here. He say, boy, this praise and worship with me. Corey got them all ready like this here. Corey got them ready now. All jokes aside now. I like when Corey sing because his heart be into it. He do it from the heart.
Yeah.
He do it from the heart. You know what I'm saying? That day we was at that hotel and he went to rhyming though, all jokes aside, boy, he had dropped one though.
Oh yeah. When they were making that little ugly noise with his mouth.
Oh yeah, when Stanley was making that noise.
I got it on the phone now.
Yeah, but he got.
Yeah, he been making that noise.
lick from his scene, from his song.
No, I'm just saying though. He was spitting though.
Ugly noise with his mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, you recorded that?
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta send that to me. I put it in there. Shoot, Corey was spitting though. All jokes aside though.
I put it on the computer because I don't know if I can do it from my phone.
That boy snapping.
Yeah, he
I
was
don't know how
spitting.
they look, boy.
16 and 34. He said, oh, give thanks unto Yahuwah, for he is good, for his mercy endure forever. And say ye, save us, O Elohim of our salvation, and gather us together and deliver us from the heathen, that we may give thanks to thy Kadesh name and esteem in thy praise. Blessed be Yahuwah Elohim of Yasharal forever and ever. And all the people said, Amen, and praised Yahuwah. So he left there before the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah, Asaph and his brethren to minister before the ark continually, as every day's work required. You heard what he said? To minister before the ark continually, as every day's work requires. Now let's go over here to Luke chapter 9 and about verse 23. Was he crying? Is he laughing? What was he doing? 9 and 20. 9 and 19 actually. 18 actually. We'll work our way to it. What do y'all think that means about you need to minister before the ark of the covenant as every day's work required? You know, minister means serve. So what could you think this could mean? Gentlemen, on the phone, gentlemen.
Keep the law.
Doing his will before him each and every day. He's saying it came to pass as he was alone praying. His disciples were with him, and he asked them, saying, who say the people that I am? They answering said, Yachanan the Immerser, but some say Elijah, and others say the one of the old prophets is risen again. He said unto them, but whom say ye that I am? Peter answered, the Mashiach of Elohim. All right, boy, that's enough.
So you go get the backup now.
And he straightly charged them and commanded them to tell no man that thing, saying the Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected of the elders and chief priests and scribes and be slain and be raised the third day. And he said to them all, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his stake or his affliction daily and follow me. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, but whosoever will lose his life for my sake, the same shall save it. For what is a man advantage if he gain the whole world and lose himself or be cast away? For whosoever shall be ashamed of me and of my words, of him shall the Son of Man be ashamed, when he shall come in his own esteem and in his father's and of the Kadesh Malachim. Now we knowing that we have to follow this man and serve him daily. Now let's turn back around and let's go back to 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and something that the Apostle Paul said. And we'll read Hebrews chapter 12 as well. Because if this ark of the cut it short. Now think real hard before you make another move. I'm trying to spare you, boy. You set yourself up. Yeah, you're setting yourself up. About verse 10, 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 10. always bearing about in the body the dying of the Master Yahusha, that the life also of Yahusha might be made manifest in our body. So if you bearing about the dying of Yahusha, how is his death? How is his life being manifest in your body if you're bearing about his death? How is bearing the body of a Mashiach going to be manifesting life in you? Listen to him again. Always bearing about in the body the dying of the Master Yahusha, that the life also of Yahusha might be made manifest in our body. Indeed. Now, you know in 1 John chapter 5 say, who overcometh the world but he that believe Yahusha is the son of Elohim, right? Now we know that he say, except the corn of wheat fall on the ground and abide alone, but if it die, bring forth much fruit. So if he's telling us here, always bearing about in the body of the dying of the Master Yahusha, that the life also of Yahusha might be made manifest in our body, what can we look at to see where we can see where Paul will get this from? About bearing about the body. If you're bearing about the body, mean you carrying that, right? And then through this man's death, his death can manifest life. Who can we think of that did that?
When they carried Joseph bones out of Egypt.
Absolutely, Corey. Absolutely. Genesis 37. Stinking phone, stinking phone. I see you over there, stinking. All right, that is correct, sir. Corey, that is correct, sir. That's who I was thinking of. Let's look in the 37th chapter of the book of Genesis. And let's look at the 20th verse. Come now, therefore, and let us slay him, and cast him into some pit. And we will say some evil beasts have devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams. Now, you know with his dreams, we know Yahuwah visited who in a dream? And the testimony of Yahusha is what? The spirit of prophecy. They said, we want to kill him. Let's see what's become of his dreams. You know, they wanted to kill a Mashiach because they wanted to see what was going to become of his dreams. You know what I'm saying? Or his visions, or the word that he was prophesying, the word that he was preaching, right? He said, Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands and said, let us not kill him. Reuben said unto them, shed no blood, but cast him into this pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hands, to deliver him to his father again. It came to pass, when Joseph was come unto his brethren, they stripped Joseph out of his coat of many colors that was on him, and they took him and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty, and there was no water. Now we know when they came back to the pit, Joseph was gone, right? Now you sit back and you look at it, right? For all intents and purposes, this is an example of a similitude of a Mashiach's death, right? Mm-hmm. So now how would you turn around and look at bearing about the death of him will bring forth, manifest his life in our body? How will we get that out of Joseph now? Y'all got any idea?
Good.
Absolutely, Troy. Absolutely. So when we come back, go ahead, Troy.
Oh, I was saying, he gave us life in the famine.
He gave us life in a drought and a famine and a dearth, so to speak, right? You know what I'm saying? Come on to Genesis 45 then. We might use 50 instead. Matter of fact, let's look at 50. 50 and about 15. Now we also sit back looking at that Joseph's brothers were mad at him and were persecuting him for what? But even in all that what happened to him, what did he do? He remained faithful, didn't he? Even after being sold into the hand of foreigners, even in being in a strange land, even being persecuted for living godly. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand that he suffered persecution for living godly, didn't he? He suffered that. He did not want to, he not only he suffered persecution for his brethren from living godly, but just prophesying what YAH gave to him. He was persecuted for that. Because all I'm referencing is 2 Timothy 3 and 12. Yea, all them that live godly in Yahushua HaMashiach shall suffer persecution. You know what I'm saying? Y'all just were talking, we were just talking about this yesterday, wasn't it? Boy, it could be, boy, if you do this thing right here, it could be people that don't like you for no reason whatsoever. You ain't done nothing to them. What did Joseph do to his brothers? Nothing. What did Joseph do to that woman other than you can't get none of my sugar pole? Get away from me. You can't get none. I go over there crazy. That's all he told her though, right? Can't take a ride on the tilt-a-whirl over here, lady. You know what I'm talking about? Or like what Ric Flair used to call it Space Mountain. Ric Flair say, whoo, you want to take a ride on Space Mountain? That man tripped me out. He said, I done spent more money on spilt liquor from one bar to the next than you made this whole year. Boy, that's something to tell somebody, boy. That talk, I say, boy, does he got black in it? T put his name up there saying the Ric Flair Woo, spelled the name wrong. I say, it's all right. She don't know. She don't know. You know what I'm saying? Ric Flair's a fool though. That man really said that though. He said, I spent more money on spilt liquor than you made. And he said, you want to talk about me? Because he said, I'm the Rolex wearing. And we'll stop right there. Kiss stealing. Wheeling dealing. Limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun. And you know what he said after that? And I'm having a hard time keeping these alligators down. I say, boy, he got to have some black in him. White people don't talk like that. No. You know what I'm saying? What? You know where he from? Straight from North Carolina. That's where he from, straight from North Carolina. Still live there to the day.
I thought he was dead.
No, he's still alive. They finna do a 30 for 30 about him. He still pop up on, he was just on wrestling about 2 weeks ago. Looking sick, looking like Larry Holmes.